something you'll appreciate. I'm sure you understand just what I mean. Everybody, everywhere, is falling for her now. I'm speaking of the new Ford, and boy, it's sure a wow. Lay off, people, lay off, folks. None of your sarcastic jokes. Henry's made a lady out of Lizzie. Not a rattle, not a bit. Lizzie now has lots of it. Henry's made a lady out of Lizzie. There's everything inside her now except a kitchen sink. A mirror.
Welcome. Glad everybody's here. I've got a handful of announcements. It looks like a long list, but I'm going to try and go through it quickly. If you missed something, check with me later. But here's a few things. So certainly appreciate everybody coming and spending your day or part of your weekend with us. Sort of in no particular order, I really have to thank the committee that helped with this, even though I'm somehow up in the front with the microphone. It was certainly a group effort that as it has been for the past several years. Vern and Kimberly Shirk, my father Gary. Wait, I should have introduced myself. I'm Chris Parson, for anybody who's not met me or I've not met yet. Somehow I ended up being the contact person for this, but certainly not in charge. We'll let somebody else do that. Aaron Frazier, Justin Dahlke, Steve Bender, Mike Bender, Bill and Nellie Howell. Who did I forget? And other assorted Flatland Teas members. They helped put this all together, so couldn't have done it without them. Once everybody gets back from lunch, we've got some door prizes. That's what those little tickets were for when you came in. So hang on to them, and we'll give some stuff away. We have a really unique opportunity. Dave Nolting, who's here somewhere, he's here, has donated a set of 3 transmission drums that he makes, and he'll talk about them a little bit later, to benefit this restoration program that's housing this. The deal is, it's sort of a silent auction. If you are interested in these, we've got a sheet up here. Put your name and the amount you are willing to bid on these. The winning bid will work with Dave and give him your bad drums, and he'll rivet in your gears and send them back to you at no charge to Dave. So I hope that makes sense, but this is a donation, something Dave is doing for the college, and all the money you offer goes to the college. So thank you, Dave, for doing that. So I was asked to say just a little bit about the McPherson College Automotive Restoration Program. It was started, so actually the college itself was started in 1887, so it's been here since then. And it's a pretty typical Midwest liberal arts college. We've got currently about 800 students on all of campus. So the restoration program was started in 1976. So we're coming up on our 50th anniversary. For a number of years, it was a 2-year program, and it was about 18 years ago we switched to a full 4-year program. So our students go through, spend 4 years, and get a bachelor's degree. And so part of that 4 years that they spend here, they do general education classes and really get a very well-rounded education. One of the additional benefits to 4 years is that gives them more time to go out and do internships. We're really limited to class time, so going out on internships over the summer is a big part of it. And right now we've got about 150 students in restoration from all across the country. One student from Australia, we had one from England a few years ago, several from Canada, so just a great variety of students. Our graduates typically go, actually the past number of years, we've had 100% placement at graduation. They go out into the industry, probably more places than I could list to you, but certainly restoration shops. Private collections has been a big employer the past number of years. Museums, auction companies, Arms Sotheby's, Mecum, have a number of our graduates working for them. Haggerty Insurance, you get the idea, so all over the place. It may not be hands-on with old cars, but in the industry. Feel free throughout the day to walk around, look at the cars. If you have questions, feel free to ask me, or this is also a good time for me to thank some of the other people that work here that have helped a lot. Brian Martin in the back has helped a lot, and if he's a good one to ask questions. Garrick Green is here also. He's our coffee brewmeister. Thank you to him, and he can answer questions also. All of the vehicles you see are owned by the college. They have been donated to us. So we're just very lucky to get some great donations for the students to work on. Like I said, feel free to ask questions as we go. You'll get a pretty good sample of the cars that we work on, typically from the beginning of time. And when I say that, the oldest car we've got right now in the back is the 1886 Benz. It's a replica of the original, but that's our oldest car. Newest is either the 1972 Ferrari in the showroom or the 1970 Camaro in the paint lab. Typically, that's about as new as we'll work on. I should also mention, every year, the students put on a car show. It's the first Saturday in May, and if you are anywhere remotely in the area, I'd ask you to consider coming. There are flyers on the table in the hallway. Saturday, May 6th, and it is absolutely unbelievable. Last year, General Motors sent 3 cars from their vintage concept from the Heritage Collection. They sent the 1938 Buick Y-Job, sort of the most iconic concept car ever, and 2 others this year. They are already scheduled to come. They're bringing a couple more vintage concept cars and a 2024 Blazer that's not been released yet, but they're bringing that because one of our alums works for them and did a lot of the interior work. So it's sort of for us a neat tie. But and then just there's a few collectors from California shipping cars in for the car show. Great chance to see cars that we don't usually see in the middle of Kansas. Stu Tomlinson, I've asked him to say a couple words. He's on the Model T Ford Club of America National Board, and he's also running a pretty cool tour this summer.
Good morning, everybody. It's good to see many of you again, and I do have to say that this is one of my favorite annual events that there is that takes place during the year, and I love it that it's January and it's a down month for a lot of folks, and it just makes it handy to get here. And Tess and I have been coming to this ever since we moved to Kansas about 10 years ago, and it just keeps getting better and better. So again, congratulations to the Flatlands and team members and McPherson College for all they do for us here. On an update for our national club, the new executive officers are Jerry Kramer. He's the president now, and he's been a board member for several years, and he and Tony Wiltshire had done a lot to work on the museum and getting that to where it is today. And George Aiken, who's been our past president, is reelected on the board, and he's going to be the vice president this year. And our new secretary is a board member, Dave Pites, out of Missouri. So he's a good man, and I've enjoyed working with him. Rachel Hughes, our executive director, works tirelessly and good. And Elisa Drennan, man, I enjoy working with her. She is really one great editor and does great work. So the other board members, we had Brian Jordan resign due to having to take care of his parents and his parents' farm. And so Morris Stillo out of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, was elected for a 1-year term to replace him. David Courier out of Cape Nettic, Maine. He's new board member. Ray Foster, Santa Maria, California. And then I'd already mentioned George Aiken up for another 3 years. And just to touch a little bit on some other events this year, we've got the 32nd annual pre-war swap meet at Chickasha. And those dates are March 17th and 18th. And of course, I think most of you realize if you're really not there the 16th, you might miss some pickings. So kind of show up a day early on that Thursday to get a view of some of the good stuff. In March 24th and 25th, the 58th annual Model T Ford Club of America meeting is going to be held in Vegas. And I know some of y'all are going to be there from what I heard last night, so that's great to see that well attended. Brighton, Colorado, June 3rd's got the swap meet. And homecoming is also June 3rd. And the nice part about homecoming this year is it's going to have all the alphabet cars, you know, the ABC, I think it goes ABC, F, K, and RST, something like that. But they're all going to be there, so that'll be something to see. And there's always a good swap meet there, and always a lot of fun that takes place at homecoming. And then our East Central Kansas Tea group is sponsoring the national tour in Manhattan, Kansas, called the Flint Hills. And that's going to be a 5-day event, which is Monday, going to include touring out in the farm country, no traffic, good rolling hills, beautiful scenery, some real neat antique farm equipment to see along the way. Tuesday's all about another farm road tour out in the country, and then ended up seeing a little bit of the Yellow Brick Road. And we might see some characters like the Tin Man and who else we might not know, but there's going to be some characters there guaranteed. Wednesday's going to be a smorgasbord day. And so that's kind of a down day to participate in tech sessions. There's going to be some car games. There's going to be some dirt road touring for those people that like that. There's going to be a tea for the ladies. And somebody from Kansas State University is going to talk on antique clothes. And a bunch of other venues there that'll be fun that day. And then we'll see Fort Riley and get to see a lot of the museums on site there and get to watch the color guards and see a lot of the historic activities that'll take place on there. And then Friday's a car show in the central part of the town, and hopefully we get to join with a Cushman scooter group and see some interesting things there. And so that's up. And then the other item that Mike had mentioned this morning, the group or the chapter in Lincoln has the Speedster event, and that's at the same time. So another item, I've heard a couple of good things to take back to our club already. Mentioned 25 and 50-year pins and why we don't have those. It's been brought up that we set permanent dates for our tours and lock those in and get them in place. So what I'm asking here, if anybody has any good ideas, comments, or questions that you'd like to see from the National Club, please let me know through the day, and I'll make sure to get your ideas carried back there. And so that's about all I have. Chris, thank you.
Thank you, Stu.
Like Abby's Irish Rose, Henry's maid lady, our Lizzie. The Chevrolet said with regret to the whippet, we're both wet. Henry's maid lady, our Lizzie.